This is a story that is not paranormal, nor true. Well, at least not from the perspective of the person at the center of it. It is, however, an abnormal story, bred from a set of abnormal circumstances. And the abnormal perception of my mom and all that she does. She is brilliant, eccentric, and we are all grateful that I've somehow become the mom whisperer when situations like the one that happened on this particular night occur. It was the late 1990s. The X-Files was the show of the time. Alien t-shirts were trendy, especially for the cool nerds. I was about 15, living in a large home with just my mom. Way down at the end of our long, private driveway, my much older brother, a retired police officer, lived in a small ranch with his wife and baby. It was around 2 a.m. I was suddenly jolted from the depths of a teenage sleep coma by blinding lights flooding through my window, lighting up the entire house in white. The light was so intense I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face. The house was shaking, like someone had picked up our 14-room home like a snow globe and gave it a good shake. There was also this whooshing sound. I won't lie. My first thought was aliens. About 20 seconds later, I laughed at myself, then started to more practically question what the hell was going on. That's when my mom burst out of her bedroom, wielding a handgun, frantically shouting at me to get in the closet, because according to her, they were going to abduct someone. I knew better than to argue with her. So I said, "Mom, I'm flattered that you're willing to take on aliens to protect us. But what if they have death rays? You'd be gone, and I'd be left to deal with the aftermath. Maybe we should think this through." I suggested we call my brother, see if he could see anything from his place. Sure enough, we saw nearly a dozen police cars lined up on our private driveway and a police helicopter hovering directly above our house. Apparently, a man had fled from a DWI stop and ran into our yard, and they were trying to track him down. Now, I don't know if the cops' explanation is entirely legit, but one thing's for sure. I'm just glad my mom didn't run outside with her gun to wage an intergalactic war against our local police department. Hey, I don't know if this will make it into the podcast because it doesn't involve anything paranormal or truly terrifying. But it still remains a mystery in my head, and that, in and of itself, is creepy enough. For context, I'm a 20-year-old female living in India, and this incident happened when I was around 18. It started during a vacation with my family. I won't name the place, but it was a hilly area, and we booked a resort with 2 separate houses, since I had cousins with me too. The 2 houses were at a bit of a distance from each other. That night we had planned to sit around a fire, eat marshmallows, just hang out. But it got so cold that nobody wanted to go through with it, so we took a rain check and stayed inside, cozied up together. We talked, laughed, had fun for a little while, and then called it a night. My cousins and aunt went back to their house to sleep, and I stayed in ours. It was about 1 a.m. I was up in bed on my phone, watching YouTube or Netflix, I don't really remember, when I heard something. Footsteps. Someone was coming up the wooden stairs outside, and I just froze. These stairs creaked, so I know what I heard. A few seconds later, I heard someone jiggling the doorknob. At this point, I'm sitting upright in bed, completely frozen. I didn't know what to do. There was this large glass window right beside me, and from it, you could see everything outside. I didn't want to move, but after about 10 minutes, I decided to wake up my dad. So I slowly crept out of bed, tiptoeing across the room. When I told him what I heard, he just chalked it up to me hallucinating and told me to go back to sleep. So that's what I did, but I still needed to know. So I texted my cousin, asking if he had come over to grab something he might have forgotten, like a charger or something. He immediately FaceTimed me. He was still in his room. His younger sister was fast asleep beside him. So him being at our door wasn't even a possibility. And then I just sat there, waiting, expecting another knock or sound. But nothing. Complete silence. Now this is where the story ends. But two things still haunt me to this day. A, I heard someone walk up the stairs, but I never heard them go back down. And I was completely alert, focusing on every little sound. Even if they had jumped down, there's no way I wouldn't have heard that. B, when I say I heard the doorknob jiggle, I mean it. I clearly heard one of those round doorknobs twisting. But the next morning, when I checked, that door didn't even have a knob. It was a latch-style door. So, what exactly did I hear? Since then, I've brought this up in so many conversations. I've heard a bunch of theories and explanations, but none of them feel satisfying. My dad still thinks I hallucinated the whole thing. And honestly, sometimes even I wonder if maybe I did. But the truth is, I was wide awake. I was fully conscious. And I know what I heard. I don't know what or who was outside that night. And the most chilling part is not knowing the answer.